Hello and welcome back, everybody. Game 3 on the horizon in the series that is heating up between LiT and Fear. Cubby, again, spoiler zone until I give the peace sign. How's the Super Bowl going? What's the score update?
10-3, 49ers have the ball like midfield, but it's like 2nd and 17, and I turned it off.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I guess we can't have
T-Swift
updates.
chugged a beer on a Jumbotron. I don't know if I can say that here, but it was cool. Yeah.
One of us.
One of us.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that update. Let's take a look at the series itself and the current Fearless Band champions before we get into our Subway best of 3 sidekick. These are the champions that neither team can play going forward. Let's look at the shared ones to start.
I mean, just on their
Azirs
side.
and the Varus's.
Just on their side. So no Azir this series. We're donezo. No Varus. We're donezo. Global ban. Junglers. You know, it's been surprising seeing Chad on the tanks while Toasty's on the carries. I'm curious if we see a little bit of a switch up there. I think Nocturne Orianna could be really nice for LiT here in this game 3. Fear in this game 3, and I wouldn't be surprised if LiT denies that.
Exactly. I think that the swap from Fear is so obvious as to what they can do to change the style. It's go back to the style that we almost expect from them, at least in the jungle side. But those are the champions that neither team can pick, or rather each team individually cannot pick based on what they had played earlier on in the series. That's how Fearless works. Now it's time for our Subway best of 3 sidekick. Cubby, this is where we talk about the champion that we think should be drafted by one of these teams and why. Now, we break it down. I'm going to start because I let you start last time, and I know that we have the same picks. This is going to force you to do something different.
I should have introed this if you were going to start for going by, popular broadcast mechanics, but that's fine. So, the Subway sidekick.
Intro me then. Give me an intro, Cubby.
It's the Subway sidekick. What champ do you want to see played by one of the teams here, Kangas?
Smolder! Stop banning it, you cowards!
Okay.
Let the dragon breathe.
Respect.
Let the dragon come onto the rift and get some game time. Look, we've seen too many Smolder losses. Our first Smolder game was a win. It was awesome. All the bot lane Smolders suck. Look at LCS. Look at our league. They're dropping games left and right. Give our players some more practice on it on stage because we know it's going to come back and still be meta relevant later on in the split. That's
which build
the champion should work.
Which build?
The tank build. The Sojin into I guess not really tank. It's like the Sojin into AP, and then you get a tank item later on. I'm sick and tired of seeing Smolders auto attack and die because they're too close to the enemy.
All right, I want to see some mid Twisted Fate. I think that TF is actually OP. I've been asking for more TF right now.
What about bot TF?
No, that was disgusting, especially if you got a double Zeal item. Never again, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but the mid TF, so that's what, Kraken Slayer? You still get the static shiv, right?
I actually like the Roa and the RFC still. Or like you can Lich Bane RFC if you want to be faster. I still think that Lich Bane, like you need to get a Lich Bane in TF's build. I think Lich Bane's too good and that item's too good on TF right now.
Okay. Well, I like that you mentioned Roa. Rod of Ages did also get a buff this last patch. 100 more mana and 50 more health. That kind of went under the radar, so people aren't buying it still for some reason. I love that item.
Games are fast.
It's so good. It's so good.
Games are fast right now. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you're trying to be a little tankier as a TF, it is still fantastic for him. He's able to spam out abilities nonstop. So Smolder, TF, let us know in chat which one you want to see into this next game. A reminder, it's not going to be Varus or Azir. So thankfully, no more Azir gameplay. I think that both of our mid laners from this series had a couple oopsie plays on it, a couple good plays regardless. But now we're going to have to go in a little deeper into the champ pool for this next one around. So other picks that you want to highlight maybe for the team specifically. So these are our ones for like what's meta, what's good, what is top priority. Talk to me about some of the other ones that might fall lower in priority now that these other champions have been locked in a Fearless Draft style, Cubby.
Honestly, I expect to see some of the bans still like remain the same, like Ashe, Seraphine, Senna. I still think are going to stay on the table just because like at this point of Fearless, like if you're going to ban those champs for the first couple games, you kind of have to continue to ban them. I think that Nock Ori is the one that I really have my eyes on for Fear to see if they do go with that. Besides that, Lucian Milio's up for LiT if they want it. I don't think that's been a bot lane I've seen Rockboom play a ton. I think Rockboom stuck to more of poke range duo stuff. Also, Rockboom is a really good Caitlyn player. And I'm curious to see if we get any of that. Because it's a pick that I really like watching him when he was trying to qualify in last summer. I would love to see him in a later series maybe bust out the Kate box to see how he does.
Hasn't played it yet this time around. He's played Varus, Jhin, Kalista, Tristana, Ezreal so far. So I would love to see that as well. My sidekick is Smolder. Cubby's sidekick is Twisted Fate. You hear our thoughts. Now let's get into pick and ban because the game should be ready to go right now. Game number 3 in this series. Fear trying to pick up momentum. They've had a slow start to the season because they've only played 2 series, and all their series now have gone to that 3rd game. But based on performance, we do expect them to be a team that can punch up with the top dogs. But LiT also turning a lot of heads, really impressing us with some of the wins that they've been able to pick up lately.
I honestly, like, I think the teams that have played together is like more cohesively have benefited early on. That's why Wildcard had their hot start. I think LiT somewhat benefited from that too, just having the same stack of players as well as the coach behind the scene. I think it's been really good. And honestly, I'm curious to see where that goes from there. My eyes early on, Nocturne Ori for Fear. Very strong combo.
Okay.
LiT used it very well in that last game. I mean, not as well as it even could be. Like, Messages whiffed a couple of those ultimates, if we're going to be honest. But it still was enough. I'm curious if they deny it here, because that's something that Chad and Toasty, I think, are very willing to play.
And if you're on red side, you can go for it right away. Orianna is banned, so Toasty will not get his Orianna. Outside of maybe the Nico, I think Orianna is Toasty's best champ. Nico is on the table.
No, she's banned at the moment. It's a patch ban. That's why we haven't seen Nico. Yeah, we haven't seen Nico on 14.3 yet. There's a game-breaking bug, and so Nico's disabled. So I think that's why we've seen a lot more like Ori Azir, because the Nico is an answer that people are using to play fast right now. Hasn't been the case. Maokai is a priority pick. Of course, Fear took it last game, so that's open for LiT. They're going to take that with their first pick.
I mean, if we're going into other Toasty picks, Akali's the next big one, but Azir's off the table. So the big classic Akali champion that you want to counter with Akali, not available. I don't know if they have blind pick it anyway. So what does Chad want to play into the Maokai? We saw the double tank games in a row. You were theorizing maybe a pivot towards a different style from the jungler of Fear. It's going to be a Aphelios for Lens.
It can't pair up Milio. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Vi here from Chad. Just something that is very solid into the Maokai and would give you some point-and-click engage.
Yeah, solid engage is always beneficial for a team to have. Aphelios also likes things that can create space for him. I love Aphelios with the Maokai, but obviously we can't play that for 2 reasons here. So Vi would be kind of the opposite there. Maybe harder for the Aphelios to follow up. They could also just go for a support that pairs with the Aphelios if they really want to. But okay, Chad's back on a carry. We got Viego.
All right, I mean, that's another pick that was an opportunity. I will say that, of course, Maokai is a bit flexible right now, and Viego is a bit of a deny from Kisno. The 2 champs at Kisno really good at piloting, the Kindred and the Viego. Interested if that Maokai will be the answer for Kisno. It's not the best matchup in the world. Another decent matchup in the Viego is actually the Nocturne, which is already taken. And another one which I like that people have kind of forgotten about is actually Trundle. It's very playable if you do want to go for something like that. But I think that we're going to see Xayah Rakan taken. Xayah is playable into Aphelios with Rakan. You can have a stronger lane that can help get some shove to protect the Maokai moving forward. And I really like how the way that they picked it, you can see in our draft that splash art is pretty much together.
Literally,
on our UI.
they actually line up perfectly. I didn't even think about
that. Duo. Wow, that looks really clean, actually. I like that.
Also, Rockboom's first Xayah game of the split. Fearless Draft is really fun, everybody. We are really expanding the champ pools of our players, and this will now be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th unique champion that Rockboom has locked in. Rakan has been played by Plux before, but either way, the Lovers Duo is locked in, and Cassante blind picked here for Philip.
I expect to see an Udyr ban. Dragoon has earned the Udyr ban, in my opinion. And I don't think that at this point you let that
Udyr
through.
Darius?
I think Udyr Darius is probably what Fear ends up going with. And then...
Well, Darius Udyr, because of course you have to disrespect him.
I
guess it's respect.
You don't have to worry about Nautilus now as a Rakan, so I expect to see Renata banned here. And then something else throwing out the support pool, or potentially a blind mid that they don't want to deal with.
Sure.
Yeah.
Renata is a big one. I'm trying to think, maybe like the old counters or the old combos with Aphelios. Thresh used to be a popular one. If we really are digging deep, it still could be something like the Tahm Kench. But no, you're right on the mid lane focus. Ooh. It's Syndra taken away from Toasty.
I do like that ban because Syndra can buy a lot of space for Aphelios, and like Syndra can force Xayah ults with just a basic ability with the E, right? So I think that's actually nice, and surprisingly Garen actually taken away instead of the Udyr.
Okay. Well, Udyr is less of a threat to just one-shot or just pop off on the Cassante. It still is scary.
Deals well with Udyr. I will say that too.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he's got to just run directly at you, so you can just, if you got the right guns, or depending on what the gun situation is, obviously he's got a lot that can counter that. But I think that the Garen and the Darius are the two that will, be happy to take fights against Cassante early and try and outplay. And with how Dragoon's been playing, I think, honestly, I respect the willingness to just take those off the table.
Maybe it's a Talia pick for messages coming in. I'm trying to like read the bans and be like, hey, what does messages want to blind here? I would love Lulu actually. So yeah. Daption originally was actually an Enchantress player, mostly played Yuumi. And I think that Lulu, it's really good combo with Aphelios. We saw Core and Yawn even playing it on the LCS stage. You can really neutralize Rakan with the Polymorph. Not to mention buff up Aphelios with the W2. I like this combo for Fear. I think that's why they left the Udyr up, because like if you're going to play Lulu Aphelios, Udyr really can't play into that. So if that is picked by Dragoon, you could trap yourself in like a triple magic damage topside where you get outscaled pretty hard, and they're going to switch things up, actually pick a Wukong. Oh. Is that a Dragoon Wukong by chance? It's awesome buffs top, and it's doable into K'Sante.
It could also be Jungle Wukong Maokai top. They could pivot it around, but I do like the idea into the K'Sante. All right, so the changes, the ones that I remember offhand, I don't have the patch notes in front of me, but I know that the range on the Q got buffed. Do you happen to remember the other changes to Wukong offhand?
The E cooldown got decreased, and I think it was the range and a wee bit of the damage. That's the Talia that I was expecting to get set up when I saw the Akali and the Cinder bans. Victor is a really neutral answer into Talia, but honestly, it's very playable from Toasty if he wants to do it.
Yeah, Hui is also on the table. I kind of like the idea of Hui here from Toasty. If we're trying to find things that can set up the Viego, because right now they don't have a lot of engage, and at least Hui is like kind of that. He has a long-range CC ability that if you catch somebody, boom, that sets up the team.
Yeah, it's going to be the Victor. Okay. I mean, this is a very... Fear needs to play a slow map here. And I will say that Victor Viego, we talked a lot about a duo, like Chad and Toasty just working together. You kind of have to play more towards the Victor, because Victor's power levels are very clear. Victor will be good for levels like 1 through 4, and even in this matchup, it's not really good. Talia has pressure. It's just that once Victor gets the E evolve, and level 7, you can nuke the waves, because that's when the mage creeps start to die in the back line, and from there, you outscale Talia pretty hard. But Talia will have really everything at her disposal to try and make plays across the map. You want to pause? It looks like it's going to be that Maokai top and Wukong in the jungle.
Okay.
So, Maokai, the changes that he got, the Q cooldown being lowered does help for top lane too. And I will say that Maokai is a tank in the top lane. You get to level 14 plus, you get 2 items. You are a beast. It's just K'Sante is K'Sante, and he's really strong, especially in the tanks.
And the other changes to the Maokai, I know is more focused on the support changes. As we load into the Rift 4 game number 3, the mana on the E going up. The cooldown going up early levels. His passive actually providing less healing means that in that top lane matchup, he's probably going to be a lower health, lower mana than expected from past patches. Doesn't mean that it's a bad pick, but it means that that's what I want to keep my eyes on. How does Dragoon actually, manage his resources here in this 1v1 against K'Sante?
I think that's a fair question. The E cooldown doesn't really impact the Maokai that much because it will be W max second. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm really interested. I think the only person in our league that's been playing this is really Alorum. I've seen, like, he can threaten the Maokai top. He will play in the series coming up here. I know Mirage Alliance has struggled. I think Alorum's actually played really well this season. We'll save that talking point for after this game 3, Kangas, because
I wonder if Dragoon's been watching those VODs, though. You know, how did Alorum play the Maokai?
You can learn a lot from Alorum.
You can?
Yep.
Okay, I like this from Plug. So he was backing in the brush.
This is cute.
They saw that ward went down from Toasty, so he backs, picks up the sweeper, and actually clears it.
And that means that
he gives it to messages.
Yeah. So he gets double 2 on the first wave now. That was really cute coming out of LiT. Really like how they played it with that info.
All right, can messages do much with it is going to be the question, and can these junglers have much impact? What are your thoughts on Wukong jungle? It's been a while since we've seen this. I don't know if you have like opinions on the matchup versus the Viego or any kind of read as to when the Wukong is going to come online.
He's not going to clear as fast as this Viego early on, especially as Chad did start the red buff. I do think that Wukong is still a pretty similar champion as he was, in the sense that his power levels are very defined. It is level 6, very strong. And then instead of Divine Sunder completion, you can go Sundered Sky or Black Cleaver. Both items are pretty core to Wu, and you want both. And Wu's still similar. I mean, he is a team fight menace, and he will give your backline a really difficult time. We've also seen this really emerge with the Wukong Rakan. Shopify Rebellion played it in both their games this week on LCS. It functions the same as it did last year, right? It's just the snap engage, the combos you get with Rakan Wukong, and how they play off each other is very, very good.
Hard to avoid, but As we look at mid lane now at the end here, it doesn't look like Messages actually got much done with that level 2 rush. Picked up the early ward clear, so you can get... Oh, misses a cannon. I think we just cursed him right there by talking about him. Sorry, Messages, that one's on us. Yeah, let's get out of there. Not much happened in the mid lane regardless, but resource management here. Philip is trying to take advantage of Dragoon pushing this wave in. He's got the wave behind him now, but is taking some damage from that Bramble Smash himself.
Yeah, I mean, Dragoon managing this decently well so far. As you can see, Toasty somewhat able to trade with Messages thanks to that Q shield that he gets. Messages will take that first base proactively, so... oh, actually really well spaced.
Can't actually get it off.
Yeah, well spaced.
Toasty misses some of the CS underneath the turret. It's really tough for Victor to actually CS under turret.
Actually, if you want some good tech on Victor right now, at home, you can use in solo queue. Pull the grubs with Victor. If you kill one of those like little grublings, you know, that spawns along with the grubs, it counts as a stack towards your passive, which is pretty damn good.
Ooh, Toasty taking a really aggressive trade here. Drops the gravity well so that Messages cannot just walk straight to the turret. And tries to trade as much damage as possible. So Messages has to go all the way back. Toasty doesn't get the kill, but is annoying. So credit there.
Toasty's going to have to go back too. The wave is in a neutral state. And I think that Toasty, I expect to see a Malignance early on, as it synergizes really well with Victor's ultimate. Of course, when you proc it, or pop it, it decreases MR. Victor's ult does tick damage, so every tick you're doing more damage. Feels really nice on Victor. And not to mention Lichbane. I'm curious if Lichbane gets fit in the Toasty's build. I haven't seen Victor's abusing Lichbane quite as much. I think Lichbane is super good in this champ, as Flash will be forced by Messages and Kisno. Well played.
Yeah, hard to actually get to that point if you are put behind as the Victor. Now he's going to be careful of a potential repeat gank, but dodging that one solid as the bot lane actually wins a trade there. Happy that the observers were highlighting some of the jungle clear. We saw that the bot scuttle was picked up by Chad, and Kisno tried for that gank, doesn't find anything but the flash, and he's falling a little bit behind in clear speed now, which, as you said, might be expected. Messages actually taking away some of those little ones.
Yes, a couple. That's nice. I do want to credit, I know we're a little all over the map right now, Lens and Daption. This is a lane that you can win as Aphelios Lulu. You have range advantage, and you have the ability to really space the Zyra Rakan. I think the few glimpses we've gotten of bot lane, they've been doing a good job of it, and on the scoreboard you can see they're up 2 waves of farm along with a plate. So that's really well done by the Fear bot lane. Again, I think these guys have been playing really well this early season. And it's a pleasant, I don't want to say a pleasant surprise, but I feel like they've been performing a little bit better than the expectation that I had. I do think that Lens was a good laner, and again, is good at playing up, playing forward, and I'm just really happy to see Lens, again, return to the league and do this. He wasn't sure if he was going to compete or not this year. Like, he posted a late looking for team tweet, like, hey guys, I can do this, and I feel like him landing on Fear ended up being really fortunate for each side, as Lens got a quality home, and Fear got a quality player in Lens.
We love to see players continue on the journey. As the journey right now in this game
he deserves
is
the play.
Cryo bot side and then the Dragon early on. Kisner's a little bit behind on the clear here. Like you said, Lens has shown in Splits past that he has an argument that, you know, hey, we watched Masu pop off in the LCS. He's having a fantastic debut as a rookie there. There was a time where we looked at Lens and said, nah, he's the better AD carry over Masu, or at least there's an argument.
It was in the moment. I think overall we were all like, all right, given that this is Masu's 3rd split playing competitively, he's going to be pretty good, right? But it still was good to see Lens be a really promising player, and from that 100 net streak as well, as he played there later in 22, so that's always nice. At the moment,
there was that one, like, 1.5 to 2 year period where 100 Thieves just was responsible for so many players kind of like having debuts, really impressive performances.
I mean, still kind of feeling the impacts of their original few teams in every league that we have. I do want to visit some of the itemization on LiT, as it is a tier for Maokai. Thimblewinter is really, really strong on Maokai. Not to mention the tier helps him get through some of his early mana problems. So that's a good bind. And also, the Tiamat for Kisno. Wukong, I was talking about the Sundered Sky and the Black Cleaver being options for him. Tiamat's another. It does speed up his clear quite a bit, as it benefits from the E. You get an attack speed steroid from that. But it does take away some of the other value that his items bring, and I'm curious which Tiamat item he ends up going with. I actually expect it to be Stride Breaking, curiously enough. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot that was a change. So now...
Yeah,
that is one of the options you can go for. And definitely buffed up that one on the last patch here. 2v2 bot lane. Flash forward from Lens, dodging the knockup of Plux. I don't see they having the damage. Yeah, just Ghost out of Rock Boom, no flash. So aggressive play from Fear's bot lane. They had the red-white. They thought they had it.
Not really that close to having it, as I think that was a ambitious flash forward from Lens. I even think that if he doesn't eats the W, he can kind of win that trade, just given that he has Lulu. Not the case, as meanwhile, we see that Maokai. Dragoon's been doing quite well in this lane against Cassante. Again, the Maokai, it's 7 seconds on the Q. I feel like that buff is really significant for top lane.
Great trade for messages as well. Just hard, chunky, toasty. Drops the gravity well, low on mana. We'll have to go for a reset, I imagine. Otherwise, you could get dove here. Kizno has level 6. I mean, you talk about the power spike of that Wukong. It's been a slow early game, but we have reached the point now where these jugglers, having their ultimates available, can look to start impacting a little bit more.
Drops the messages. Getting ahead in this lane. Again, Victor is diabolical later in the game as a scaler. So I think it's important they set Victor behind. Also, doesn't look like he's going for the Malignance build, as the double amp tone would lead me to think it could be a Luden's companion.
It is more of the poke style. You have the area as well.
Yeah.
The Malignance, I love it for the ultimate damage, as because you get your ultimate more often. You have that big chunk of ability haste on your ultimate ability, and like you said, it reduces the magic resist while the ult's going off, but it means that you're a little weaker with your other abilities. All out from Philip in the 1v1. It's rooted up. Dragoon outplaying right now. There's the Bramble Smash out. Flashes forward. Ooh! These top laners trying to outplay each other. Philip, very low health bar. That Bramble Smash is going to be available in any second. There we go. First blood solo for Dragoon.
Honestly, it was a pretty close 1v1. Each top laner was kind of dodging the other's abilities. The initial ult from Philip, it got him around the first Bramble Smash. Got to pause because we might have action in the bot lane.
Yeah, Chad's hovering around here, but so is Kizno, so they see soil and just back off. All right, we're good.
Yeah, I mean, both top laners dodging abilities, but that's huge that Dragoon is able to get ahead. I mean, Dragoon's been really solid so far this season. And this Maokai, again, if you get Maokai off to the races, he is a beast of a tank. He scales so hard through his passive. Not to mention just what Maokai brings in terms of utility, which we all know from jungle. So Dragoon has a real opportunity to be a menace this game.
Is that first blood top lane all 3 games this series? I know it was game 1.
So.
I'm trying to remember game 2.
Oh, no, game 2 was bot. It was Daption.
Yes, you're right. The Ignite did pick it up. But we have had multiple solo kills in the top lane regardless between these two. Love to see it, man. As Chad and Kizno actually fancy themselves a 1v1. Dragon spawning here in 10 seconds. The first Drake went to Fear, and they have Prio bot side, so I think they're going to get the second.
Chad, really nice trade as the Diego there. I know I highlighted the Diego, a bit of a takeaway from Kizno too. But it is worth mentioning Chad's Diego also always has been very strong in his days.
LiT might fancy themselves an engage here.
Look for Plux.
Yeah, watch the side. Chad actually just engages in onto Plux. Yeah, watch the Rakan because he's not there anymore. Fear. They just pulled the trigger fast. They were getting collapsed on, but instead they said, nah, we're the ones doing the collapsing.
I teased how that Lulu can interact with the Aphelios and the Rakan with that polymorph, right? You can use that to either buff up your Aphelios or take down the Rakan. Used to take down the Rakan rather nicely there. As we see Philip starting to have a really tough time in this top lane matchup, given all the sustain and damage that Maokai packs. Gonna get a replay though, bot. And it's just a polymorph and a flash commit from Chad that makes this too easy for Fear.
Adaption kind of lulls him in. There's the polymorph and chain CC. He is dead. They even commit the wild growth on top of it. So Chad, there's no chance of him going down in response. Well executed. They earn themselves that second dragon. LiT, meanwhile, as we come back to live, are back onto the grubs.
Now, this is the 3rd game in a row where it has been 2 dragons for Fear early on, traded for the grubs over for LiT. So that has been an interesting trend of the series, Kangas.
It's going to be interesting when we look back at the stats, because that's heavily going to skew how these two teams play and prioritize in the microcosm of this series, at least. As now, I mean, I'm trying to think back. Fear has been controlling it, and they picked up the first game. The second game, okay, actually, Kizno's pushing Chad off of his camp. We're gonna scrap around this though.
Oh,
Kizno went very deep in here as the backup of the Maokai. The ultimate goes off. Kizno has Blast Cone. He flashes over the wall instead. Is now Dragoon. It could be in some trouble. Goes over with Chad. Messages is there. Can't quite get the damage off. Chad's gonna get the resets. Philip gets the kill credit. Now can they get out of the pit? Yeah, Chad just ults out. Heartbreaker to safety. Dashin's just running forward. And the fight should be over, but LiT invade and get punished.
That's a tough invade from LiT, because look at Chad's inventory. He came out of base after that last fight and had the Triforce completed. Chad obliterated Kizno in that little skirmish with Philip, too.
Rockboom and Lens are going for a 1v1 here. Red and white for Lens, and Rockboom still thinks he can take it. Has the Kraken Slayer, while Lens went for the boots early instead.
Still has Ghost out of Rockboom, so he can't really pressure after that.
Sure.
But I really like, I mean, Kizno, like that invade, you know, after the dragon, you do sometimes want to swap the sides of the map you're powerful on, right? Invading isn't terrible there, but Chad immediately answering, understanding that he has a big item spike, that he could fight that, and walks to that red, hoping to find Kizno there, who was spotted on the way. Does so, they win the skirmish. That's a really good call and play from Chad and Fear.
Power spike of the item for the Viego, as now he's feeling empowered with his mid lane backing him up, invading to take away some of these visions. And now Plugs goes for the flash engage onto Lens. That's Cleanse and Wild Growth. Out of the bot lane of Fear. Throughout the Moonlight Vigil does not connect, but still a lot of damage traded back regardless.
And Chad's here. Health bars are low. Fear can just continue to pressure. Look at Toasty. He's even going to ramp down with Messages. Messages can be here first if he pops the ult, but they won't find each other.
He doesn't have Weaver's Wall. His ult is on cooldown right now,
Just
but the
waiting for
wave's
Fear.
pretty much gone, so I don't think the play's actually going to come through for Fear. They're just pushing LiT off for right now.
They don't need to make a play, but they can just kind of poke, harass, and try and delay the recalls. They decide to pull back, but still, Fear transitioning to that strong lane. They still get first say on both mid and bot, so even though it doesn't end up being any kills, it's the right move from Fear to maintain their pressure on the map.
I like to see them play for the macro game here as they have the next dragon in a minute and a half. Chad's looking for the red buff. Does Smite steal it away? So invading there, gets rewarded. Will not have Smite now for Herald unless... Actually, no. He had the second one, so it will be up. Does he want to contest? Because right now LiT are pinging it. They're running up there. And they started up. So Kizno's onto the Herald. Do Fear have a response? They just went for resets. Toasty has teleport if he really wants it, but it's going to take a while for Lens to get there.
No one cares about Herald, man. This crap needs to be buffed. Let's be real. It just doesn't feel like it has the same impact as last year, where you were able to get plates with a Herald that was so strong, and then you could use second Herald. Like, it really feels like Herald's just used now to get a Dragon timer opened up, which, to be fair, LiT could use, because Dragon spawning in 45 seconds, it would be soul point again for Fear, who has done... They've been 6 for 6 in getting the first 2 dragons of all 3 of these games. And it's now that he's summed this. He's too far up.
Yeah, that is an Aphelios that is dead. Looking like a blonde in a horror movie. Just gets collapsed down by all 4 members.
Lens needs to understand with no summoner spells, he cannot step up to that wave against a Talia comp. It's just not doable. He didn't have anyone from his team around him. Daption was rotating the support. That's a freebie given by Lens over to LiT, and that's really going to help LiT, again, set up and contest for this dragon. Now, Toasty, he did prep that bot wave, got it in for Fear. It will be bot out or destroyed, but now Siege is on mid, and Fear are having trouble defending.
Okay. You have Philip to frontline right now. Teleport coming in now from Messages. That turret will fall. Gravity Well goes down from Toasty. They do not have that cooldown quite long. Oh, what a seismic shove from Messages. Gets flashes out. Blux can't quite follow up the engage. That's flash out of Toasty and Daption. Heal out of Daption. And I don't know if Fear have much left in the tank. They do still have the Chaos Storm from Toasty, though. Watch for the damage that Victor can pump out as Philip maybe looking for an engage here. Gets the pull back onto Rockboom. Rockboom has ult and flash and everything available. Chad just gets blocked out and taken down. All out onto Dragoon. Will he finally go down? No! He flashes to safety and gets out of there. LiT keep everybody alive. Fear lose their jungler.
Oh, man. I mean, LiT... Props to Messages. I don't think he had the best first 2 games of the series. This has been his best game of the series so far. Had a couple of big catches there, forcing out the flashes from Toasty and Daption initially, and then catching Chad in the back half. But Fear, they just have to play slow. They have range advantage. Drastic range advantage. We have Lulu, Victor, Aphelios. I think they're walking up, playing a little bit too fast against LiT. LiT are taking advantage of it. Now, they will utilize the health bar advantage that they had to take the dragon. They have a turret to retreat to. Messages has Weaver's Wall coming up briefly, though. He can cut him off. He's waiting for it.
Dive?
He just got it.
It's a scary dive, but there's not a lot of cooldown available anymore. Oh, the Weaver's Wall hits Toasty. That might turn the entire play. Toasty should at least go down, gets knocked up by Flux. Rooted down by the mouse guy, and that hits everybody! Dragoon, what a valuable ult right there, my friend. Is now Chad back onto the map. Cannot do much, has the Heartbreaker available, and there's a lot of juicy looking targets, but that root onto Lens is not enough to kill him. He's knocked up. Rock Boom gets the kill. Rock Boom with the setup. And LiT are making use of their champion advantage right now. Still diving onto Chad, who jumps right onto Messages. Heartbreaker used. Messages flicks him back. Chad can't get the kill, can't get the resets. As now Plux has the ultimate again. And Daption will go down. The ace for LiT.
Everything goes to the wayside for Fear as LiT capitalizes. Dragoon on the Maokai. That 4-man Nature's Grasp was massive. As really, this is everything paying off for LiT. Keep in mind, Daption, Toasty, flashes were burned before this Lens. Burned flash, he didn't have it mid, he still doesn't have it now, and it enables LiT to continuously press forward. Toasty gets caught by Flux, good catch, and then this Nature's Grasp. It's all 4, and Dragoon is so tanky, he can actually go, he can follow up. Notice how he doesn't use the Twisted Band still. He's already taken a few tower shots, then he keeps Chad in place. Chad, Lens trying to push forward, use their power window, but the root's beautiful from Rock Boom. Flux follows up great, and then Chad, he's trying to cheese a kill back here on Messages. I think he can have it, but watch this. His W, it hits a grub that just spawned. So it hits that grub instead of Messages, and that's why he doesn't get the full combo that goes down. Kind of unfortunate for Chad that grub ate the stun. Only reason that Messages got out without a reset. I do think that Chad could have turned that, but man, that was a hero grub stepping in. That little grub bite saved everything.
If a Viego gets Talia abilities, that's a lot of damage that you can start doing with that full reset. I actually agree. That was a crucial grub right there.
I'm down for the look from Chad. Like, he hits that if the grub doesn't eat the stun.
Philip,
down for this look, too.
He didn't teleport. He was just hiding in the brush. Now we're on to Messages. Teleport coming in from Dragoon. Can Messages get out? All out to stop the Weaver's Wall. Victor damage on top. Dragoon taking the turret again. Flux with a big engage follow-up. Kisno as well. Lens trying to get the damage in onto Kisno. Double kill for Philip underneath the turret. And there's the Moonlight Vigil. Kisno's gonna go down. Oh, just barely alive, but I don't think he can escape from that one. Flash forward from Lens with the auto. LiT, Rock Boom, big recall, not enough damage. Shut down to Lens.
LiT, you did so well in the last play, and then you overextended. It's a great trap from Philip, but they opted to take the fight under the turret against this comp from Fear. It's a comp that wants space. That turret is able to give them so much space, so that time the Aphelios, the Victor, who are flashless, they're able to free fire. They were not under pressure, which is what the comp from LiT needs to do. That was a terrible take from them. And just like that, Fear are back in the game, and look at the timers. They get Baron buff now for 2:30 or 3 minutes. Dragon spawns in less than 2. They're going to have Baron-empowered waves to set this up for their soul.
One of those moments where I think enough plays went LiT's way. They kept finding play after play, fight after fight. They just dove bot turret. The momentum is riding, and they're feeling good. And then reality strikes. You cannot just tank a turret for 20 shots in a row and expect to win that fight.
Also, Lens had flash back in that fight, so Lens was actually able to peel back. And again, under the turret was just massive from everything. LiT did so much good work.
Offensively to get the kill onto Kisno at the end there. He was able to hold out the entire time.
I don't even think he should have used that. I think he had to hold that. I think it would have been Toasties for free. I understand wanting to take jungle off the map, though, to take the Baron. And now, I mean, regardless, it's a really good condition for Fear. 1 minute, Baron-empowered waves. Monster buffs, I will say, both blue and red are on the shoulders of LiT. I'm trying to do a better job of tracking this, because I think that taking those buffs before big fights are really important. You get so much gold value from getting red and blue buff on your entire team as it gets offered out to everyone now. So that is
there. Taking away the blue.
It is the one thing that like LiT kind of has going for them. I think that Fear really need to protect Lens in this next fight, but besides that, it's a great condition for Fear. It's an even game. The last Dragon went terribly for them. This time they have nearly all their summoners up and have Baron to try and set this up. They just need to make sure they utilize the space they can and use that poke. You have Victor, poke out LiT before you get engaged upon. And for LiT, find an angle.
What angle will LiT look for? When I hear that with the Talia comp, I immediately look for the Weaver's Wall flanks, the Weaver's Wall blocking people off without a flash and a Aphelios. That is the prime target. As Philip, as the tank, just walks up to Dragoon as the tank, and the tank shake hands, and the tank say neither of us took any damage. Flux can take some damage, though.
His nose at half.
The knockup right there. Chad lands a stun, and Flux is still out of there. Oh, they got Daption! That's a good start for LiT. Now the Heartbreak goes forward. Chad's trying to get the reset. Lens gets one. Reset for Chad. This is a Viego fight, everybody. But he's locked down. He can't get out of there. Finally flashes over the wall. Another Heartbreak in. Chad going off in this fight. Flux has to flash away, trying to survive, but the fight's already won for Fear.
I mean, Chad was able to do it. That was the best start that they could have asked for. They picked the Lulu. Daption has both sums, and an alt-up was dead. But the rest of the fight, Toasty, Lens, do too much damage in the backline. Everyone that had to jump in, it was front to back. Let's take another look. I mean, picking Daption like this, it's the best you can do to ask to start for LiT. As Dragoon, he just takes Lulu 4-3. And then Gizno's even able to escape the combo from Chad, but the damage just wasn't here. Chad was able to get the reset as Philip dragged Dragoon back. That bought enough space for Chad to get the first soul, and then Chad, the flash commit from Toasty to make sure they get Rock Boom ends up being big in the end, so Chad was able to get the reset before he died. Then's 1v1ing messages on the back half. Was always going to win that later on. The commit from Toasty was great, Kingus.
Everybody went in early onto the Daption pick, and nobody got onto Toasty or Lens. I mean, Chad's the one getting the crazy pop-off resets, barely surviving, but Toasty and Lens were just free-firing damage that whole time, and you said what happened in the top lane, too. You can't just allow the damage dealers to deal damage. They will out-damage you in these clumped-up fights. Fear now back into this game, Dragon Soul in their pocket. They got the gold lead, and they are re-establishing control over the Rift. It's not over for LiT, though. They will still have another team fight. It looks like momentum has shifted.
I think Cloud Soul is really powerful for Fear, too. Just the ability to try in space. Again, when you have a Victor and an Aphelios into a Xayah.
Kind of broken on Victor, actually.
How fast
he
is
really
Victor
loves
gonna
move
be?
speed.
He's got the Witchbane, too, which, again, it's a very powerful item in the game right now. He picked that one up. I think that it's going to be a really scary one, as... I don't know how LiT come back from this. I think it has to be a really clean Xayah, Rakanj, and Talia combo, but honestly, we're past the point of the game where that's really threatening, and now we have a TP coming in.
Teleport flanking right now. That's
we're just
an early ultimate from Rock Boom. And now Plug's trying to go for his own engage here. They say the only way out is deeper in. Get Chad. Chad's down. No resets available. Moonlight Vigil lands from Lens. How much damage can he actually do with it? Toasty's over the wall, too. Looks for Flux. Philip's buying a lot of space. Philip is a massive health bar on the front line for Fear, and they will take down Dragoon. Philip on a rampage.
Toasty.
The front line holds for Fear, even if they lose the jungler, and now they're just chasing him down. Raku fails to flash over the wall. Toasty claims the kill. And now Lens gets pulled back in, taking a lot of damage, but the Lulu will keep him alive, keep him just fine. Philip takes the kill out of Gizno on the side. That's just a solo kill for him. And Fear feel like they could do no wrong. Even if their jungler gets picked at the beginning of the fight, they will still win it.
I mean, you could see in this fight, they're going to speed up Toasty in the back half because the Victor is so big at this point of the game. Just at 2 items, Victor scales so immensely hard. And I mean, the engage from Flux is good, but all Fear need to do is play back, hold the line. There's no angle coming in from Dragoon, Gizno, and after the initial engage, it's just a standard front to back. Victor, Aphelios, they have more range, more damage at this point. There's no play for LiT, even when they're up a man.
Yeah. I mean, the movement speed buff, Toasty's just chasing everyone down.
Watch this
Saved
from
the Chaos
Daption.
Storm for very long, but it worked out for him.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice
he
flush.
throws a W on the Toasty, and Toasty has like 400 move speed, just sprinting at you, and a slow on all of his abilities, so not bad. Yeah, Cloud Soul, we like it in this house.
We love a Cloud Soul, we love a scaled Victor, and Fear are loving where this game has gone. 3,000 gold lead. And Baron's coming up here in 20 seconds. There's just no way that LiT can actually approach. Okay, Flux gets out of there. A little worried for him in the moment. Still hovering around. Yeah, I mean, you're very squishy on the Rakan. I know you got a lot of mobility, but you got to respect the burst damage the Fear can actually output. Now, 7 seconds on Baron. I'm wondering when Fear want to start it up. Get control over the waves. Do we just start hitting it and pull LiT into you?
I mean, if they do this, it's so hard for LiT to find angles. I'm curious the approach that Dragoon decides, as they will get info
messages.
Sapling.
Weaver's wall's in. He doesn't take it all the way. Chad's taking a lot of damage. Philip isn't there to tank the Baron, so the damage is actually sticking for the Baron. Toasty, big chunk as messages lands the combo. Now they got Chad. LiT are actually taking over this fight. Lens has got to be the main character. Lens and Toasty, the damage dealers, are outputting damage. Philip's still up. The front line's still there. Chat just doesn't matter because the jungler is not the main character of this game. It's all down to this man. This flash from LiT pulls it up, gets on the Raku. He goes down. Toasty still up for more DPS, and that is the team fight win for Fear.
That's the killer instinct we love to see from Lens. Yes, he goes down, but him walking forward clinches the fight for Fear. And you called it out. Everything's used on Chad to take him down to prevent the resets, but the backline's too big. It just doesn't matter at this point.
Lens flashing in that fight was vengeance for what happened in the 2v2 bot lane. He was just prepping. He was just getting ready. He was getting warmed up, Covey. You know, he was like, all right, I'm going to practice flashing over Recon W so that I can actually pull it off in the big heat of the moment fights. So many players at this level can choke in moments like that. Those really close fights where if you're a split second too late, you get Giga punished and you look like a fool. Lens pulls it off and is able to win that fight for the team. Impressive from Fear to hold on for this long, because there were moments in this game it felt like LiT were the ones that were actually in control. We are well past those moments.
Oh, man. Cincy Fear. I mean, this has been a pretty impressive start to the split from them. I know that they've only played a couple series, but I gotta say, I think this team looks pretty good, man. Like, Toasty is the one that, you know, is really the youthful player. I know it's Daption's first split in Challengers too, but I've seen Daption raise a C-Ball trophy and, you know, play at a pretty high level for a while. Toasty, man, he's the new one. And I feel like he's been more of a role player in a backseat, but still, I think that how well Philip and Lens and Daption are playing. You got Chad for leadership. Toasty really scaling and evolving too. This team looks good, and now they're an elder away from closing things out.
Speaking of Toasty, he doesn't have the Rabbit on Death Cap yet, but he still can pump damage. We're on to the Elder Dragon. It's a classic front to back. Philip versus Dragoon as the health bars. Who can take up more damage, but watch for Flux on the flank. He's actually getting watched here. Weaver's Wall catches Philip. He's all alone as the tank. Gets out of there. Did not buy enough time for them to really threaten this dragon. It's going down. Who's going to get in there and get it? It's actually LiT. They get the Elder Dragon, and now they engage on a Fear. Running through the health bars. That is a win condition for the team. You don't need the soul. You don't need the Baron. You don't need the first fights in the first 30 minutes. You just need that moment. And LiT find it. Keeping Chad out of the pit. Now they're going to chase down Toasty. It's only the solo laners left alive for Fear, and I don't think Toasty's got anywhere to go right here. Might take down Flux, but not even. Stun onto Kisno. Jumping away. Dragoon doesn't have the damage there. This might be an execute, but I mean, what a play for LiT. Saving the game in what felt like sure defeat, and it is a shutdown to Plugs.
I mean, at least Toasty bought a lot of time, but it's just LiT having the convicted call. Right when Weaver's Wall goes down, they say, guys, we're done losing these front-to-back fights. We have to burn the objective before Fear gets involved. And then Dragoon, Root finds Chad, and it's a great engage from Flux as he locks up 3, so Chad was never close to being able to get the smite off. And the Flux engage enables LiT to follow up with the Elder. They win that fight convincingly. All right, again, it's not done and dusted yet for Fear, man. LiT has some life left, and this Maokai gets really scary later on. If you don't have field cut, he's really tough to deal with.
Dragoon just saved so much time for them to get onto that dragon, and it benefits them. The soul, or not the soul, the Elder gets them the Baron now. LiT are right back into this one, and I don't know what's happening in those old meat sport games on the other TV. You better be watching this one, because Game 3 is a certified banger. We're back to a gold lead for LiT. Look at that gold grab. That is a roller coaster of emotions for these players in this game.
Oh, well, I mean, we are just everywhere in this one, as I think LiT, they've taken back over at this point. Back and forth, LiT, it might be their comfort zone, man, as now, I mean, the scaling for them is good. At least with the Maokai, I'm still concerned about the carries getting spaced and gapped in these fights, and Fear, they don't want to take a fight while they have Baron on their shoulders. I think that Fear are okay seeding everything until really the Nexus turrets, or maybe the third inhib is where they make their stand. They have to, though, because Elder's still up.
Dragon is still up right now. I was watching the mid lane because Messages was looking for a potential Weaver's Wall. Philip gets the wave in mid and takes one turret for themselves. Big pullback there. Good damage from Toasty on top.
They got the ult.
We'll get Nature's Grasp out from Dragoon.
Really nice.
That's actually very solid from Fear,
LiT, I don't think that LiT can pressure the inhibitor turrets without that, and I think LiT, they agree. They're just going to reset. So Fear, I mean, Fear losing one inhib off all that is really not that bad, and I still favor Fear in this game, just given that I think their comp scales better.
I think so as well, and that's tough for LiT. I said all you need is that one moment at the Elder Dragon, but they don't end the game off of that one moment. They're gonna need another one now. Can they make it happen twice? Can Messages survive, chat? Ooh, chat's actually really far out of position right here. No backup from the team. Heartbreaker forward, stunned up, knocked up. He is CC chained for infinity. And Chad, in a crucial moment in the game, throws himself away. LiT will take the pick.
I don't know why we need to do that there, Chad. I don't think that like we're at the point where we need to flip the game. Like Victor and Aphelios can buy a lot of time on the siege, but now just give LiT a free 30-second power play.
Hey, hear me out. The two best fights for Fear were when Chad died first. Maybe he's the ankle weights, and they just took it off. They still have the Victor that has scale. They still have a 3-item Aphelios who's just sidestepping Flux right there. Good start. Weaver's Wall coming in for Messages. Philip pulling back Dragoon. The Nature's Grasp is available yet again. It's actually taken up by 2 members right there.
I mean, it's the
as
last
the second hit falls.
This is one place where he could make her stand. Chad is up in 5. They can't get the wave in. Okay, it's good for Fear.
Good start for Philip. Good start.
It's
onto
really good.
Dragoon. Dragoon's just going to go down. He buys a lot of time, but Fear pick off the top laner. Arguably a more important time to do so. The root lands on the Philip there. When are the objectives coming up? Actually, it's 2 minutes till Elder, so we do still lose the inhibitor. We're not able to chase for much more. It's going to come down to an Elder fight. Now, how many super minions will be pushing into Fear's base is my question. I know we have a minute 45 to answer that, but it's going to come down to how Fear can actually control these lanes.
I'm still really going to prefer like where Fear is at, and I think a big thing for me is just the fact that Toasty, he's got that death cap completed, and it's already on his way to a Crypt Bloom, or a Void. I expect a Crypt Bloom. I think death cap is just huge at this point. And also look at Aphelios items. Like, it's on par with the Xayah, but I still really favor like the Aphelios later in the game. Lens is going to be able to have more space, and that still is the key for Fear. Set up that slower front-to-back 5v5. Lean on that damage over time. The DPS from Toasty and then should be enough to overcome what it has.
It's not just the Aphelios items, it's a Lulu buffing you up. It's a very different story than the Xayah and the Rakan. Rakan's not giving much more damage to that Xayah in these fights. We're playing around the mid wave here. Teleport coming in from Toasty a little early, but that is Dragon in 45 seconds. They just want to maintain control, which means that Supers will start pushing in top. Teleport on Messages here for LiT. There's maybe a world where they could try and make something crazy happen up top, but we're just peppering each other with damage for now. Dragoon.
This is all Fear needs to do. They just need to play it slow just like this. And look at Dragoon and his no health bars. Look at Lens.
Oh, stepping up. Big damage onto Dragoon right there.
Yep.
As the Lord Dominic's Regard can just chunk through that armor, and Rock Boom takes a lot of damage. Lens is just outputting insane DPS right now. And there's no answer for LiT. They're catching the wave, but so are Fear. They can walk into this Elder Dragon right now.
Fear had to catch that wave, or else LiT could threaten the base, but because that's caught, there are no minions to backdoor those turrets. So now they're going to be forced to hit Elder. They're already down at half.
Kisno's really far away. Kisno's not in a position to steal. Can we burn Dragon fast enough? No. Kisno's going to make it in time.
Decent
Chad
wall.
could be in some trouble right now. Philip jumping onto the backline. Messages pushing him away. Chad's still in the pit. Nobody's backing up the Viego or doing the damage, but Rock Boom's taking some damage from Victor. Toasty outputting a lot of that. As Philip goes legendary, 1v1 Messages on his own. Off screen. That's Elder Dragon, and Fear might just win the game off of that setup.
I mean, that's all Fear needed to do this game. Just play slow. And a lot of the fights, Fear just got a little bit ahead of themselves later on. Credit to LiT, who did find some good engages, but this is why I favored Fear later on. Their ability to just simply slow down the game. Lean on the Victor lasers, lean on the Lulu Aphelios that has range advantage. That's all Fear needed to do, and now it looks like they have full control of this game, and this series could be going in their favor.
The Supers are pushed onto their base, but they have a wave themselves. I don't think there's a world that LiT can stop that. Big feather recall coming in from Rock Boom, though. Is that going to be enough? Chad's jumping in, gets Flux. Rock Boom's the only one left alive. He tries valiantly to claim a kill, but the Elder Dragon buff is just too strong. Fear, hold the line, stack the dragons, and we'll take game 3.
All right, I mean, that was a fun series. So that one's our Super Bowl. I'd say that's pretty fun, as some action-packed games, a little back and forth there. 25-18 final score. You know, it's decent. It's a touchdown win.
That was a solid series right there. That's probably my favorite series of NACL Spring Splits so far. I know bias because I got to cast that one. but what a banger, Cubby. That just kept delivering, especially game 3. Remember, go back. I mean, even earlier in the series, we were seeing solo kills topside. We were seeing, 2v2 outplays bot lane, diving turrets, and then game 3, it's back and forth. Everything delivered here.
I think that there's some plays that each of these teams want back, but I still think we saw some good direction from these teams in this game. Like, I think that LiT, they still show that they can play as a unit. I think that they overplayed their hand a couple times, but also they got back into that game when that should have really never been the case. We saw that from Chad overplaying his hand here and there, but yeah, honestly, a good back and forth, and Fear continue to look like a strong team.
And we can actually take a look at that last fight here. I want to look at it again because Philip is able to just completely 1v1 messages in the side. I wasn't seeing it because we were keeping our eyes on the dragon, but the fact that Philip is able to pull this off. So Messages has a good Weaver's Wall flank here, but then just jumps right onto the Cassante.
Well, I think Cassante is going to like that one, especially with the E going down. Nice flip from Philip, as Philip ended up with 10 kills that game on the Cassante, dodged out on everything. Ooh. Very clean. Also, all the health bars already at half because Toasty was just doing work with those lasers throughout the entire standoff that we had before this Elder. So, again, I think Fear come together in the end. They took that JJ patented deep breath that, is mentioned in comms sometimes, paid off for them in that last fight as they made that Elder look much cleaner than the first and found the victory.
Kisno almost got in there. He was on the Elder Dragon, but only got it down to about 1,500 health, not in smite range. The margins of that game were very tight. To hear more about it, we're going to chat with Philip himself after this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. Game 3 in the books and another win on the board for Cincinnati Fear. We have joining us here Philip, the top laner, the victorious top laner. Congratulations on the win, Philip, and congratulations on a great series-ending team fight. Just taking out Messages on your own.
Thank you.
Philip, I gotta say, it was a banger. That was back and forth. I know, we were talking beforehand, you're kind of like, game 2 never happened. Unfortunately, the Fiora counter pick wasn't there. But the Aatrox was big. And that series really kicked off when you got a double kill defending a dive top. I know that there was a Shurima Shuffle that went wide. What were your thoughts up there when that started off?
Oh yeah. I don't know. I was just playing. I think we were talking about swapping lane assignments, and then we just talked about how I needed to, just suffer one timer against Azir, and then we can pull a swap off. But while I was catching the wave, I saw them trying to go for the dive, and then I saw the Azir out, and then I knew it was not gonna work for them. So yeah, I just played it out and boom.
Can we recreate the comms? What was your gut reaction when that play happened?
I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here, but I said they effed up, and then
okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's all. Just gotta let my team know.
Yeah. Speaking of f ups, I want to hear the team's comms from Chad. In Game 3, Elder Dragon fight is getting prepped, and he gets picked off hovering around the river down there. Was there ever points in that game that the team was like, "Oh, it's over, it's doomed," or how confident were you at certain points in that game of like, "Okay, we actually could win this one"?
I remember seeing him because the game was already in like a pretty dire situation for us. So when he got caught, I was like, "Oh no, is the end?" And then, but like something, like when I was playing these games, like something inside of me kind of just told me that these guys won't close it out cleanly, right? Sometimes you just have that feeling, and I had that feeling that we're gonna be fine. So I just told my team to calm down, and I didn't even need to say that. Like I think everyone was they didn't give up, even though inside I like kind of mentally gave up. But we don't talk about that because we won. But yeah.
Well, Philip, I'm glad that we held on to the end. I do have one question to ask. You are someone that I always like to lovingly describe as a dopamine gamer, in the sense that you gas up the boys. Someone makes a good play, you got their back. You're there to hype them up. You have now been joined this year by another one of my favorite dopamine gamers in Daption, who also likes to hype up the boys. What are the comms like in terms of? I know that you guys are like sharing the comms videos. It's been really fun on socials at Cincy Fear. Well, like, what's it been like having a fellow dopamine gamer on the bot side? Are you guys clogging comms too much, or is it just kind of fun to hype everyone up?
It is fun, but it is kind of like eye-opening because he's kind of doing what I'm doing, where, sometimes I realize that sometimes in comms it's like a bit unnecessary to, like, so sometimes that's not the best thing to say, when you're gassing yourself up. You could be talking about the next play, but instead you're like, let's go, So
we need a balance of everything in life,
Yeah,
healthy balance.
I think having him on the team is kind of like giving me, like, showing me that I need to control myself too. But it is like fun to like have him around too, what I mean, right?
Yeah, iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. You're working on it together, right? Well, we gotta let you get going here, Philip. But any final words, any shout outs that you want to have before we say goodbye?
I will say Minui messaged me the other day saying watch out for the Maokai flex to top, and then he ended up solo killing with it. So I kind of feel bad for him that I let him down. But yeah, I'll shout out him.
You knew it was coming ahead of time.
Yeah.
That's okay. You'll get him next time. Hey, you still had the victory on the board. I think that's the thing that matters. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with us, Philip. Congratulations on the win. Best of luck prepping for your very busy second half of the split schedule. And with that said, we're going to send it to a short break before we are back with our second series of the day right after this.
Yep.